Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Emmie from Emmie Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, I'm going to be doing a reading for Pisces, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Also for your cross watchers. Also for those of us who find ourselves on this channel without any Piscean anything. You're probably an empath and you're probably needing messages from your soul. Okay. So, let me get started. Okay. Let me pull my hair to the side. All right, let's just pull some cards. How are you guys doing? Got a totally late start to my day. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and I was told, did you let it in? Did you let it in? I don't know. Did you let it in? I don't know what that means. It could be something that, I don't know, that's romantic, something that's not. I don't know. Let's just pull cards. Let's see where this goes. I was just watching a special. I definitely got caught up because of the fact that I was watching a special on artesian salt from the Philippines. Asin Tibuan. I'm gonna buy some because I heard it tastes really good. I heard it was super salty and tasted really good. And they harvest it using coconuts and fire and whatnot. And it takes 3 months. So I'm going to buy some to support the small farmers. And also because that type of salt takes forever to harvest, just like the salt from my attitude. So yeah, that's why I'm late. I can't lie to you guys. That's why I'm late. I had to watch a special on salt. All right. So I'm not sure what you let in. I hope it's not anything parasitic. Because we're not about that life. We're not about that life. All right. Why can't I ever? Okay. One more shuffle for this deck. Okay. All right. All right. Card number 27, receiving. This is about allowing yourself to receive whatever truths you're needing to receive. There are so many readings in the past how many days about receiving, how we're not allowing ourselves to receive, how we are denying our own guidance. I think our soul is trying to tell us to listen. I kind of feel as though if we don't listen at some point soon, we are really, really going to regret not listening. And that's up to you. If you need to experience what happens when you don't listen to your soul, um, I can tell you from firsthand experience, it's not ever anything nice. It's never worth it. It's never worth it. But I mean, if you need to learn that firsthand, like I do, by all means, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to be part of it, but I'm not going to stop you. Okay. So then, you know, what you want wants you in reverse. So maybe what you want doesn't want you, or maybe what wants you is something that you don't want. There's a misconnect. It's not a miscommunication. I don't feel like this is something that is like you've led someone on and you don't know how to tell them, like, sorry, I don't really like you like that. No, I think this is someone that just really doesn't care. They don't care if you like them or not. Like, their goal is like, you're going to be theirs. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure not. Pisces and empaths. Oh, this reading is for Pisces and empaths, if I didn't say that already. Don't fall for people's bullshit. Like, there's something to say about people who believe that they can talk you into reciprocating feelings. If you don't feel it on your own, what are you doing there? For real. What are you doing there? Can you not do that? Can you please not allow yourself to be coerced to stay in a toxic place far longer than what you actually need to stay, which is not at all. You don't always have to go through toxicity to understand that it's toxic. Sometimes we need to allow the things we've already been through, um, allow the people who were toxic previously to help us learn. Okay. To help us learn. And what I mean by this is like sometimes you can take a look at something or get a feel for something and recognize this is the same shit. It's going to be the same thing, same type of person, same caca, same caca. But we have a tendency to not want to do that. We have a tendency to be like, no, then maybe this is different. Maybe this is that, and maybe this is this, and like, oh no, I promise you. I promise you, you've gotten to know certain types of people, certain types of characters. And when you continue to let that in, that's what the reading's about. Oh, did you let it in? Mm. So it reminds me of like this veggie patch, right? My really good friend at her old place, she had this little veggie patch and she was showing it to me and she was telling me like all the different things she's going to be planting in the spring. And then she also said that she needed to redo the fence. And I was like, what's wrong with the fence? Because it looks like it's good to me. And she said she was going to have to remove the wooden sides. It was maybe like a foot high of wood, so it could be a raised garden. She said she was going to have to remove that, dig a foot deeper, and then place wire down there, wire fencing down there. And I was like, why? Why? Why do you need to do all that? You already have a fence. I mean, why? And she's like, well, there's certain critters that can dig that deep. And if you don't dig it deep enough and you're putting all this effort into growing all your veggies, these little mofos going to come and dig under the wooden planks and get your hard earned veggies. I mean, are we not doing our part to keep out the vermin? Are we not doing our part? When you exist in an environment that is so rich, that is so full of sustenance and energy and, all of this and all of that, like, there's going to be things that's going to covet that. There's going to be things that want it. And if you're not going to take the precautions, then I mean, I don't know. I don't know. My veggie patch, it's not very huge. It's just a small veggie patch, and I used this is my own bad. I wanted to save on funds, and so I used a plastic chicken fencing. It looks like the construction orange fencing, that's the plastic stuff. Yeah, except it was green. And I was like, "Oh, that should be good." Mhm. Mhm. And then I was thinking to myself, I should at least, because we have no gophers in this area. I haven't seen any rabbits. I haven't, like none of that, unless she was just scaring the shit out of all the other animals. Unless my old dog is scaring the out of all the other animals. We don't have any of that here. And I was thinking I should stake down the bottom of the fence And I kept thinking that for several days. Ask me if I staked it down. Nope. Nope. I didn't. I didn't because I was like, "No, that's so not necessary." I mean, forget the fact that I keep thinking about this because that's how my soul guides me. It'll lead me to keep thinking about things over and over and over until finally I'm like, "Fine, I'll do it." And my soul got tired of waiting for me. So what happened? My big ass dog shoved her big ass body under the plastic and started digging through the baby plants. That's like she uprooted several broccoli. I don't know what she was looking for, but she was looking for something and she was teaching me something. Because you best believe right after that happened, I went to the store and I bought some steaks and I staked down the bottom of the fence and she hasn't gone in since. Like, do you really need to experience a loss before you listen to your higher self? Do you need to experience that? Do you need to experience this big ass beast coming into your garden? I don't know what the fuck she was doing. Oh, yeah, I remember. I had laid down some fertilizer that involved chicken meal, chicken poop, and chicken meal in pellet form. And she was just like, "Oh, snacks. Mommy left snacks for me." No, bitch. That's not for you. So that's what happened. I mean, your energy is just like the fertilizer was for my dog. She's like, "Oh, snacks." Well, look at how society refers to people who are easily digested, who give in easily, like you little snack. I'm a whole fucking meal, whole complex carb meal. No, don't be a snack for someone. Don't be just a novelty. Don't be just something that, you know, is something that's passing like uh-uh. Uh-uh. Even in friendships, if you can't go to the depth that I exist at, don't drown yourself. I'm not coming up for air. I don't need to. I don't need to. And when you are with people who need to consistently come up for air, you need to begin questioning, are you a deep diver or do you belong in the sea? Is the ocean your home? Do you crave depth? Do you crave a connectivity that goes so deep that even the deep divers can't reach it? And at that point, do you want to be surrounded by people who use an artificial means to, reach your depth? People who are wearing scuba gear but don't belong in the ocean. Are you so starved for attention, companionship, that you would take the scuba people over your own peace? I mean, what are you letting in? Are you letting something in? Are you allowing yourself to really see or hear or feel what you need to hear, see, or feel? Or, or, um, is it time for you to just learn? You know, is it is it just like I don't know. We'll see. Because if that's the approach you want to take, um, I guess you will see. Okay. Card number 35, conscious connections. We're seeking conscious connections with unconscious people. Oh, that one hurt. Are you seeking conscious connections with people who really just are not willing or capable of reaching the depth that you're seeking? Because life can go so much deeper if you stop holding your breath. If you stop waiting for the people who need to go back to the surface for air because you're too intense, because you're this, because you're that. Um, are you trying to be something you're not? Are you trying to be someone that's a watered down version of you so that you can better fit into whatever environment? Because, I mean, when you do that, do they love you more? I mean, have you paused and asked yourself, when I do this, do the people that I want to love me and that I'm doing this for, do they love me more? Or does it just make it harder for you because now you feel fake? Because now you feel like you're not accepted unless you're playing a role? I mean, do you see how we do this to ourselves? How we create far more issue than what's actually necessary? I think we do. I think we do. I think as empaths and as Pisceans, we become so fixated on whether or not we're making things harder for other people, whether or not we're being a burden. We've been conditioned to believe and to see ourselves as drama and dramatic. If we're not overly catering to other people, then we're just being difficult. And why do I have to be this way? Because this is who I am. Because this is who I am, okay? At this point, this is who I am. And I think maybe what we need to begin considering is seeking out an environment that is more in alignment with the type of internal peace we are trying to not just create, but sustain. It's important to not just create that internal peace, but to also sustain it. Sustain it. Recognize you deserve peace. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be able to be yourself without any fear of retaliation or punishment for being who you are. You just are who you are. What is wrong with being you? And if you're basing it on other people, that's the problem. You're basing your perception of yourself on the opinions of people who were never meant to understand you. Those are the followers of life. They follow others. That's why they don't understand why you don't follow either, because that's all they're capable of, following. But here's the thing, you're not a follower. You're not my follower. I know that for a fact. You're an equal. You're equally powerful. You're equally capable of leading yourself out of that crazy space of just trying to be a follower when you're not. You're not a follower. I remember one of my kids were at the grocery store and he said he wanted to look at something. I think it was my youngest. And I was like, okay, expecting him to lead, right? Oh, we were at Target. That's where we were. We're at the toy section of Target. And he said he wanted to look at blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And he was standing beside me. And as I was just standing there waiting for him. And then he goes, with so much attitude, he says to me, it's kind of hard to follow you if you're beside me. Who the hell is this little human talking to? I was like, excuse you. You're the one who said you wanted to see something. I shouldn't you be leading? I don't know where you want to go. And that's the thing. Is that what's happening in your life? Where people are expecting you to lead, but they don't want to call you a leader. They don't want you to act like a leader. But then they're waiting for you to make the first move so they can follow after you. My kid be too much. He's like, it's kind of hard to you lucky you my kid. See, there it is. She feels. She knows. Just because it's your hands that's hurting you doesn't make it any less. It doesn't make it any less painful. It doesn't make it any less wrong. Self-harm is as bad as harming other people. Honestly, I think it's even worse. I think it's even worse because we have a world filled with billions of people who are willing to throw you under the bus, who are willing to harm you and hurt you and abandon you and betray you and use you and all of these other ugly things that humans do to each other. What if you're the only person that's tasked not to? What if you're the only person responsible for yourself, your growth, your peace? Sorry. I came across a post this morning. Let me find it. It was a really good post. Um Let me just find it. Okay. The best quote ever. It says, "If violent crime is to be curbed, it's only the intended victim who can do it. The felon does not fear the police, and he fears neither judge nor jury. Therefore, what he must be taught to fear is his victim." Mhm. It was a quote from, what's this? Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Cooper, USMC. Mhm. Mhm. You're the only one responsible. And it's not that you have to act out of character to scare people into respecting you. It's that you got to stop playing the role of being small and meek and a fetish and dis I was going to say I am dismissive to people like that. Like, no, I'm not going to be your fetish. I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to be demure for you. Because you need to learn sometimes Asian women will fuck your ass up and make you cry. People have learned too. People have learned. How many trolls come into the comments? How many trolls? I live stream pretty much every single day. I'm live streaming. And it's not 5 minutes, it's not 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. I'm live streaming for hours on end. Hours on end. How often do you guys see trolls in the comments? Not often. Why? Because everything about me tells people I'm not gonna be an easy victim. And if you come on my live while I'm live, if you try that shit while I'm live, thank you for volunteering to be the entertainment for me. And no, I'm not gonna shut myself up just because people are watching and might see me as being like, "Oh my god, Emmie is such a bitch." Damn right I am. Depends on how you approach me. Damn right I am. Because really, society teaches us what is a bitch? What's a bitch? Someone assertive, someone who can speak their truth, someone who can command their space. And that's a bitch, right? Damn right I am. I'm no longer going to use my own hands and my own words to wound myself just so I can keep the peace with someone who's not interested in peace. When people come into your life starting all sorts of wars, they do not deserve peace. They deserve an appropriate response to their bullshit. Put them in their fucking place. Put them in their fucking place and have no apologies. Don't take any of it back because you know already. You already know. You keep your mouth shut far too much. You take a lot of shit from people. You take a lot of shit from people. So when you finally let loose and say something, it's appropriate. That's what I had to take years to learn. And those of you who have been with me since the earlier days on Facebook, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly my character. You know exactly my level of patience and my compassion and the ways in which I make excuses for people who don't even bother to take the time to make excuses for themselves. Does that mean the entire world is bad? No. That means people will only live up to the goodness that you expect from them. Sometimes not even then. That's what I learned. From your children to random adults, they will only live up to whatever expectation you have of them. Do you expect someone to hurt you? Well, Emmy, the problem is not me. Like, I've seen how they are. Okay, well, if you've seen how they are and you expect them to hurt you and betray you because you've seen how they are, why the fuck are they still in your life? You think you're going to be the exception? You think you're gonna be the one that is going to love them into wholeness and they're gonna devote their entire life to you, despite the fact that they've cheated on every single other relationship they have had. There is nothing sacred to them. Is that what you're thinking? So really the issue here is not about they betrayed you or they disappointed you. The issue here is you have an ego problem. You have an ego imbalance that causes you to feel as though it's appropriate to make projects out of people. And you got exactly what you were looking for, a problem. You were looking for a problem that you wanted to solve. I'm sorry, but you're not as good of a problem solver as you are hoping to be. You were looking for a problem, so you got a problem. But no, I don't deserve to be hurt. Then why did you choose that for yourself? This is about accountability. This is not about blame. This is about accountability. This is not about blame. I remember years ago, I was dating this guy who's in the music industry. And when I say music industry, like, I don't want to say. I don't want to say. Um, yeah, let's just say it's all over the radios and stuff. Okay. That level of music industry. You think I'm gonna build a life with you? You're flying all over the place. Like, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, no, no. And then when I decided to no longer talk to this person, that was they didn't know what to say. Like, I'm not stupid. And they're like, did someone say something?" "Who? Who? Did I need someone to say something, or am I just being realistic with myself? I never started talking to you and had this plan to invest my entire life with you. Like, I'm 19 and I'm doing 19-year-old stupid stuff." I was very realistic with that. Very realistic with that. Are you realistic with your situation? There's a lot of things that we chose that we are still living the ramifications of. Sometimes when you choose something, it doesn't end when you break up. Sometimes when you choose something, it continues. And some might say, like, oh, well, that's your karma. Karma is a lesson, karma is about learning. So that means you're still learning something if you're still experiencing something from that. When did we become so opposed to learning, to growing, to expanding our awareness of causation and effect, ripening our understanding, inner, under, and overstanding of ourself and our soul, and how our decisions are the very bricks that are laid before us to form the path that we walk. When did we stop realizing that? Ask anyone who dated a narcissist and survived it. Did you know? Looking back, did you know? Most will say, "Well, I didn't think that it would turn out as bad as it did." But yeah, no, there were definitely red flags. There were definitely things that were said and done, and I just didn't wanna see it. I just didn't wanna see it. I just didn't wanna see it, like, there were things that I thought that was kind of weird, and I felt like, why are they so interested? Like, all of these different red flags that we didn't wanna believe because maybe now someone is paying attention to us and we're so starved for attention. Maybe now we're feeling like someone actually is interested in how we did today. But looking back, you kinda already knew. You know what I mean? You kind of already knew there was something that was just like, "What's going on here?" And again, this is not about blame. This is about learning from your earlier life circumstances. How many of us can take a look at what ugly things we've been through with other people and apply what we've learned in hindsight to future situations? How many of us? How many of us? That's a hard thing to do. It took me quite a few different cycles of people burning me while I was running across that bridge to get away before I finally understood, like, this is spiritual kerosene. You motherfucker, I'm not crossing that fucking bridge. You fucking tripping, boo. No, I don't want to come over and visit your ass. That's fucking kerosene. Spiritual kerosene. I'm good. Right, right. And Catherine, you've been through so much. You have been through so much. And it's like you repeating cycles. Was it evidence of incompetence, evidence of all sorts of negative? No, not until you actually pause and look and see all the different ways in which your avoidance of addressing the issue, your avoidance of analyzing the issue, what you've lived through, the telltale signs. That's what's continuing the same damn thing in your life. Are you letting it in? Are you telling yourself, no, but this one's different? Different how? Did you analyze what happened before so that you could actually make a valid statement of this one is different? And it is part of that shadow work. This is not the place where you're gonna be able to, like, pass off your decisions as someone else's. No. You make the decisions, you end up with the results. My brother always says, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." Okay. But it's true, though. When you play these games with yourself, you'll win ugly prizes. This is an ugly game that gives out ugly prizes. And it's not because you're lacking. It's not because you lack intelligence. It's not because you lack empathy. It's not because you lack intuition. It's not because you lack power. It's not because you lack anything else. Anything else. It's because we don't wanna face the decisions we've made and take accountability for what we've done to ourselves. What I mean by that, I don't mean you deserve it. I mean, we chose things that put us in a position that's accessible to hurtful and harmful people. And if we can't even take accountability for that, you're gonna continue to repeat the patterns. I promise you that. That's the reality of what you're going through. It's not because all the people you're interested in are bad or you have bad luck. It's because you keep seeking out the same thing. And if you can't take accountability for that, that's the life you're going to live. Am I saying that's what you deserve? I'm saying I can see you deserve so much more. And I'm not quite sure how to help you understand. It's your lack of willingness to accept more that keeps you trapped in the same cycles of opening that gate and letting the snake into your grass. Oh, but Emmy, snakes can fit in between the wires of the fence. Yeah, but why the fuck would you open the gate to make it easier? And if you know snakes can fit through the wires of the fence, why don't you put something there to block up those gaps? So going back to my dog, right? She's fucking I love her. She's so fucking crazy. So here's the thing, okay? There were gaps in the fence. The fence is old. And there were gaps, places where pieces of the fence kind of broke off. It's not enough for her to get through, but it is enough for her to put her snout. No, her snout through. She'll feel like this, right? And for the most part, like if she sees someone walk by, she's fucking nosy. So she'll just be like, "Oh, there's someone outside. It's fine." We have it's like this thing where, every house we live in has an excessively long driveway for some reason. So there's space between the fence and the street. So what did I do? One day I saw her fixated on something there. And I was calling her, and she didn't hear shit because she was just focused. And then I realized, like, ooh, she has a high prey drive. She has a high prey drive. So, and she's a bully pit. She's a working dog. Her breed is a hog dog, meaning she was bred with a type of temperament that will bite a hog, a warthog, and not let go. Once she's focused, she doesn't care what kind of pain she experiences. She's not letting go. And it's not because she has lockjaw, it's because she's stubborn as fuck. I see her fixated on something outside. Uh-uh. Get your ass inside the house. You don't get to stay out here like that no more. And we're putting fucking chicken wire across the bottom half of the fence. Anywhere there's any type of gap where her nose can fit, chicken wire. Oh, she won't do anything. She can't get through. Oh, you best fucking believe if another dog comes halfway up her driveway, all she needs is enough for her nose to fit. She will ram through that shit with one objective: neutralize the threat. This is my property. Now, I'm really not for having a civil suit because my dog killed your dog on my property. I'm really not for my old ass girl being put down because that's what she was bred for. And some people are saying, like, oh, she's already like 12 or 13. She's too old. You know, we keep her and my brother's big ass Borble. He's another working dog. He has a Borble. That's a mastiff. It is a mastiff. We keep them separate. The one time she was in the backyard with her daddy, Frey, that's her daddy, no one gets to touch her daddy. My son brings Damo into the backyard, not realizing she's out of her crate. Shiva's out of her crate. And Damo is just prancing around because he loves life. He's prancing around and he sees her, and I guess he wants to kind of like come and say hi. Right when she sees him, ooh, we good thing my son is so fucking well experienced with keeping dogs separate, because if she had got her mouth on him, oh my fucking god. And he was so afraid of her, he pissed all over the place. She didn't move like she was 12 or 13. She moved like a full adult in her prime, because no one's going to touch her dad. There will be no intruders coming up behind her dad. I know this about her. Just because those gaps exist does not mean they're going to continue to be allowed to exist, where she will be put in harm's way based on her own behaviors, her own natural instincts. When was the last time we did this for ourselves? When was the last time? When was the last time we saw who we actually are and took the steps to make sure we created a safe space for ourselves rather than letting in the toxicity? There are certain types of people that I know I'm reactive to. The people who don't get this will tell me, I mean, it's so immature for you to block people. A truly strong person would not block someone, but would instead hold their ground. Okay, but if me as a truly strong person sees a demonic in you and I want to fucking beat you, that's irresponsible of me to remain in your space. I'm not going to fake that till I make that. I'm just not. I need to love me enough to be like, I hate that bitch. I don't hate anyone. I'm using this as an example. But if I feel that way, like I hate that bitch, I can't ever allow myself to be in the same space with you, especially alone. Especially alone. Because no, I need someone to be like, girl, no. What did you say? What did you say? You told me to tell you, don't let you do stupid shit. Right? That's self love. That is self love. I'm not going to allow you in when I know your toxicity is necrotic to my peace. You know the difference between different types of venom? Necrotic venom is the worst, because as it flows through you, everything it touches, it destroys. It rots it. That's necrotic. Don't allow that kind of shit into your life. When you realize who you are, the current limitations that you are operating within, make sure you're safe within those limitations. I don't need to prove to anyone that I can control myself. I need to be realistic with myself, with what I can and cannot control about myself. Standing ground in this example is self-sacrificing. Those days are over. Absolutely. Absolutely. I used to think that it was a show of grace, compassion, growth, personal power. If I could continue to force myself to be around the people who were trying to be destructive with me. No, I don't give a fuck. Not about that and not about you. And I have every right to stipulate for myself what I will and will not care for. I do not need to love everyone. You do not need to love everyone. Everyone deserves the basic love that humans should have. When you're acting extra, you're not being a basic human. You're going extra above and beyond in that toxicity. Fuck that shit. I don't need to be patient with you. I need to remove you from my space. I need to remove you from my space. And that's just that. I don't need to correct you. I don't need to heal you. I don't need to understand you. I don't care what wounds you've had. I need to worry about me, my process, your effect on my peace, whether your presence will drag me back to that place of toxicity. If I don't want to be aggressive anymore and your presence makes me feel like I have to be aggressive in order to maintain my space, you need to fucking be removed. Compassion for self comes before compassion from all. For all, not from all. It just has to be. It has to be for you first. What do you need? When I'm in an environment where the people within that environment consistently consider me, my needs, um, they consistently respect my boundaries, not only respecting it, but help me to enforce it, gently remind me. Those who encourage me to speak my truth, to be gentle with myself, fuck yeah, I will always consider compassion for them as much as I consider compassion for myself now. Those are equal. Those are equal. But when my intuition is telling me, you're just a nasty person. You're just a nasty person. It's okay for me to have that judgment. It's not a condemnation, it's a realization and acceptance of your truth as you are. And if that's the case, I mean, I just don't want nasty people around me. No, I can be different. I can be nice around you. No, but you're not a nice person. See? I have to accept you as you are. And what if I get from you that you're a nasty person? And what if all I've seen is you be nasty to other people except me? I'm not that special. Eventually, you're going to be comfortable enough around me to be exactly who you are, which is a nasty fucking person. But there's no but. There's no but. If that's who you are, I have an obligation to myself to not be around you, to not associate with you, to not promote you. Judgment's not a bad thing. Judgment is a component of discernment. Condemnation is a negative. You see how twisted society is. It makes us think and feel that when we do things from a place of neutrality, where I'm judging for myself your character based on what you've shown me, that I'm not allowed to judge. No, I'm not allowed to condemn. I have an obligation to myself to judge you, your energy, and what your rightful place in my life is. Anything short of that, betrayal to my own peace. I'm done betraying myself. I'm done maintaining external peace in exchange for an internal war. I'm just done with it. Society is club psycho. Yes, yes. Club psycho, absolutely. What do you feel? What do you feel? What do you feel? Have you paused to see what you feel? If you agree that society is club psycho, what feelings were you using to determine that? For me personally, I use the feelings of resonance. What do I mean by this? Well, I'm capable of being psycho. Is that what you're triggering in me? That part of me that wants to match your energy. Okay. Because I know I'm capable of being psycho, I'm very well versed and I'm highly capable of determining you motherfucking psycho too. I don't want to deal with that shit. I'm good. I'm good. Yes. I'm just good. No, thank you. No, thanks. No. No, I don't want to be friends. No. Yeah, no. No, don't even follow. just just fucking go away. I can't deal with that. I can't deal with that. I can't be around that. Like it's just nope. Nope. I don't want to be around that. And people will tell you like when you don't want to be around something, it's like, "Oh, but you're rejecting me." Okay. So then go away. If you feel I'm rejecting you, which I am, because I've determined you are unhealthy for me, go away. People will try and convince you to be ashamed. For what? Having standards? And here's the thing, if you don't have standards, they condemn you anyways. How many Pisceans and empaths were accused by people who love you that you're a pushover? That's the problem. You're a pushover and you're drama. And how many of you only speak when you finally can't take it anymore and have been silent this entire time? Every single time shit was done to you for months on end, you just made excuses like, "Oh, they're just having a bad day. Oh, they didn't really mean that. Oh, you know what? I think I'm just sensitive today. Oh, this and that." And then finally, when you say something, it's like, "Where is this coming from? Where is this even coming from? You're just a fucking psycho. You're just fucking drama." You know what I'm saying? They were gonna say that shit about you anyways. We can do psycho things, but we are aware. Some who think they're normal and behave in the way society sees fit in. Part of me sees like if I reach that place, I'm not psycho. I'm matching your fucking energy. I'm an empath. I'm capable of being psycho depending on what psychotic energy is in front of me. I'm matching your fucking energy. You don't like my attitude? Rearrange yours. And y'all see, for the most part, I'm really nice to people. For the most part, I'm really like, it really touches me when people struggle. Like, I feel it. It hurts me when people hurt. I don't like people hurting. I want to help people who are struggling. But once in a while, y'all will see me like, fuck, where's she? Why is she getting attitude with this person? Like, what did they even say? It's your fucking energy. I feel it. I feel it. And because of that, I'm now matching your energy. That's a decision I've made. I take responsibility for it and ownership of that choice. But we need to begin understanding the internal workings, the nuanced mechanisms that exist within empaths and Pisceans, especially. I don't act that same fucking way for everybody. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. Some people can be busting a fucking attitude, and I will be calm and like, "Hey, what's wrong? What is the matter? What happened?" Because I can feel like this is a trauma response. They don't know how to process their life, and other people could be real quiet and speaking in a respectful way, and I'm like, "Fuck you." And people are like, "Whoa, what the fuck's wrong with you, Emmy?" Fuck that person. Matching energy. Sometimes I'm cognitive of it, other times I'm not. Here's the thing. My earlier life experiences from childhood to adulthood have taught me the different types of characteristics people will embody. What am I saying? I'm saying I can tell you're playing a fucking role. I can tell. I can see past the crocodile tears. Now, it's not my place to correct you when you're lying to yourself, but I'm not going to fucking take that in as truth just because you believe it. No, no, nope. That's not my job. I'm not your psychiatrist. I'm not your psychologist. I'm not your therapist. I'm not your social worker. I'm not your doctor. I'm not any of those things. I'm a human being having a human experience, and I deserve to be left in peace. And if you will not leave me in my peace, I will fucking eject you from my space. I can't even say evict you because I've never given you permission to live here. No. And it's okay for you to have that type of personal power where you can make these decisions and have no shame in understanding what your needs are. After the storm, you done crying? Are you done crying and feeling soggy and, disappointed by everything? Because the storm can end. As a matter of fact, you can take shelter within the house of your soul while the storm rages. When we allow ourselves to stay in the same environment, that is the equivalent of standing outside in the rain in front of your door and not going in because no one's opened the door for you. No one lives there but you. Who was going to open the door for you? You're the only one that lives in that mental house. Who's going to open the door for you? Instead of letting toxic people in, why don't you let yourself back into your spiritual home? Back into that place of safety, comfort. So, my life teaches me a lot about psychological and emotional things, like my actual life experiences. For several years, I was in an RV full time and it was breaking down. It was over 20 years old. It wasn't anything fancy. There were not even any slide outs, okay? Bare basics. Several years I was in that. My house went with me everywhere I went. And every time the weather would become inclement, we would need to leave the area. Rain, roof, it leaks from bumper to bumper. The final leak was over the actual bed. That fucking sucked. If it snows, one time we tried to stay in the snow, our water heater burst, and a whole bunch of other shit broke. So we realized we can't do snow. We can't be in cold weather. If it's freezing, we need to leave. We need to leave the area. And because of that, because I consistently was on the move, avoiding my life, I didn't take the opportunity during that period to recognize wintering inside a brick and mortar is different than wintering inside an RV. And then one day, my husband and I just decided we're done with the RV. Wanna be in a house again. I mean, I still move like crazy. I still travel quite a bit. I'm still constantly in a different state every so often. But now, I took the time to not avoid the snow. I fucking love the snow. I love the snow. I have the snow gear. I love the snow. I love it. I love the cold. I love being in a warm house and putting my hand on a cold window and watching the snowflakes melt. I love being able to step out after the snowstorm finishes, walking out into the yard and being engulfed by that stillness. I'm not averse to snow. I'm averse to the situations that made snow intolerable. And now I'm entering into this part of my life where I'm more cognitive of what I'm allowing in. Is this an actual fear or is this a reaction to an environment or a situation that I was ill equipped and ill prepared to deal with? The first time I decided to live in Colorado, we're in a hotel room. And then it started to snow. It was just like the very light snow, like just gently coming down, you know? It wasn't even a storm. And on the news, it's talking about it's snowing. I look out the window. I freak the fuck out. I open the hotel room door or motel room door because it's facing the parking lot. The walkway was covered in snow. I slammed the door shut and I started to cry because I was like, we're going to die in here. I totally was like, we're going to die in here. We don't have food stocked up. We don't have, you know, we don't have a propane stove. We don't, you know, like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? Looking back now, like, I'm a California girl. We don't live in snow. We visit it. We visit that shit and then we go home where it doesn't snow. And that's what I thought. I thought we're going to die. We only have enough food for 2 days. It wasn't even a snowstorm, okay? It wasn't a snowstorm. It wasn't a blizzard. It was just snowing. We're gonna die here. I started fucking crying. I was like, I'm gonna watch my children starve and we're gonna die. I was so fucking serious. For y'all who don't know, Colorado, unless you're like really, really high up in the mountains, and even then is, you know, you'd have to be like in Telluride or something. Montrose. Those places, that's just fucking serious winter. But, most other places, the snow melts after, like, 24 or 48 hours. It's, like, nearly gone because you're high enough that the sun is more intense, it'll melt the snow. But you're not so high that it's so cold that the sun can't melt the snow. So, for the most part, Colorado only gets, like, half-ass winters. Half-ass. And most of the snow falls in spring when the weather warms up. So, yeah, didn't know that. I didn't know that, and my girlfriend who had been trying to get me to move to Colorado for so long, I was like, "Oh my god, Jenna, we're gonna die." And she goes, "You are so cute." I was like, "I'm not joking, Jenna, it's snowing down here." She was further north. She goes, "Girl, it melts after like a day. When you wake up tomorrow, the snow's gonna be gone." I was like, "No, it's all over the walkway." And she goes, "How deep is it on the walkway?" "It's enough for me to leave a footprint." And she goes, "Does it cover your shoe?" And I was like, "No." "It gets deeper?" And she goes, "Girl, just take a nap, drink some kombucha." "Drink some kombucha. You're gonna be okay." Shit melted by the next day. I didn't have the life experience. I didn't have the level of awareness. I didn't. And I think that's what affects most of us. We don't allow ourselves to look back at our lives, and then we keep pushing forward. Those lessons that you've just lived through, those were the cliff notes of how to get through what comes next. That was a cliff note. So during that period, we had, like a minivan with California tires. What's that mean? What does that mean? Minivan, California tires. We had a California car. It's a 4 by 2, first and foremost, meaning only 2 of the wheels have power, the other ones just roll. Uh, Secondly, if you're from California, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We run our tires bald as fuck. So, if you're in even, like, moderate snow or mild snow and you drive with California tires, it'll take you about 2 blocks to stop, even after you've floored the brakes. You've, like, pushed it all the way to the floor. Yeah, you know? So, yeah. It took a while for me to accept the fact that, if we're gonna live in areas that are mountainous, which pretty much everywhere I live is mountainous, everywhere I live snows, yeah, we're gonna need a 4 by 4. All 4 wheels need power, and all 4 wheels need the motherfucking studs. So I'm just saying, if I continue to be a California girl, which I'm no longer a California girl, that's gonna really fucking suck. That's gonna really, really suck. I remember years after, we were still in Colorado, and my California came back into my head, and I had a fucking brain fart of a moment. I said, in a 4 by 2 vehicle that had studded at least we had studded snow tires now, right? Still 4 by 2, two-wheel drive. I had the bright ass fucking idea of going to Estes, Rocky Mountain Park. It's on a mountain. We barely passed the entry. The booth where you show your membership to get in. And yeah, you guys, that's like the best investment. You pay something like $75 and it's for an entire year. You can enter, access all federal parks. You can enter with that. You don't have to pay $20 every time you go in and out. But so yeah. And as soon as it started to incline just a little bit, we slid all the way back. My husband's like, "We could do it. We could." No, no, please don't. I want to go home. Please don't. Um, please don't. Yeah. That was my idea to go. And then he committed to actually getting me there. And I just like, no, I don't know why the fuck you listened to me. That was the most cockamamie idea. I don't know why the fuck you listened to me. You should have been like, "You're crazy." He co-signs on all my stupid ideas. Yeah, that's why we're so perfectly matched. Are you, like are you looking for co-signers? 'Cause I don't know. I don't know. I think we need to just really allow ourselves to take a good hard look at where we are at within ourselves and within our lives. We don't necessarily have to leave, we don't necessarily have to stay. Excuse me. What we have to do is begin recognizing, okay? I live in damn. Negative are you talking about -30? My nipples will break and fall off anything below 60 degrees. I can't regulate my temperature. -30? That hurts just thinking about it. Like, are you do you mean 30 degrees? Or, like nipples, we are safe, the heater is on. No nipples. Just thinking about it, my nipples were like, "Attention! Reporting for duty." No, no, you cannot live in an area like that. Like, what do you even wear? What do you even wear? Yo, I'm sitting at home and I think it's like 50 degrees, I wanna say. You know how many clothes I'm wearing? You know how many layers I got on right now. Plus, I got this little fucker right here with a little hand warmer. Don't ever bring me to a place like that. You might die like that. S Oh my god. Are you safe, Sandra? You've lived there a long time, right? I feel like I should cover myself. That's cold. Okay, card number 25, release a dark wind, let love live. Let go of whatever is holding you back from whatever it is. You gotta let go. You gotta let go. There's I need to let go. Card number 3, inspiration. Allowing yourself to become inspired by every aspect of your life, not just the honey, but also the bees. Not just by the honey, but by also the bees, the things that sting, not just the sweetness. How can you feed others when your own table is empty? Card number 15. It's in reverse. Instead of asking the question, we're still trying to feed others even though our table is empty. I mean, when your table is devoid of food, most likely that table is now just serving toxicity, toxic air. You need to wear a parka and a snowmobile suit. I can visit that now, but I can't live there. Mm-mm. Feel loved and proud in reverse. So we don't feel loved. We don't feel proud. We don't feel like I even almost wanna go so far as to say, like, we don't feel like we matter. Do you not matter? I wanna say you matter. I wanna say that there are parts of you that are so beautiful that you haven't even seen it yet. And for you to have this belief that you don't matter based on other people's, like, treatment of you. People treated me far differently when I was still trying to play normal versus the way they treat me now. And what's that mean? I mean, I'm not saying I'm some sort of celebrity and I get celebrity perks or anything like that because I don't. I don't, like, at all. But I do notice that complete strangers, um, it's almost like they respond to the emanations of self-love. Like, it makes them feel more comfortable and more safe to be in my environment, to be in my space, because part of me is somehow broadcasting that I've gone through that valley of death and come out the other side to embrace that self-love. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's a hard thing. Become a loving mirror. And it's almost like we're not even able to recognize that all we're mirroring is the toxicity that we've lived through. This is, again, not a talk about how bad you are and how much you're fucking up and how this and that. No, this is about a time for you to take stock, to assess where you're at, where you've been, where you want to be, what you should focus on right now, what should be your priority. And if really all we can do is be negative, if really all we can do is think about the negatives, well, a choice needs to be made. A choice just needs to be made. We can't bring everything we want with us. And if that's what we're going to base it on, then that's the very thing that's imprisoned you. That's the very thing that's imprisoned you. I've heard people give the explanation. I don't want to call it an excuse, but because they're processing. You know what I mean? It's not just an excuse. They're processing their life. These are tough decisions to make. So I've heard people give the excuse of, not the excuse, the explanation of, I can't leave because I won't have anywhere to put all my shoes because they have expensive shoes and they can't afford an apartment, a two-bedroom apartment, so that they can use one of the bedrooms as a closet. I've heard, um, "Oh, well, we share a dog, and I can't leave because, he's gonna keep my dog, and I don't wanna be without my dog." I've heard, um, "Well, that's not fair because I put all my time and effort into decorating this gorgeous home that the other person bought, and I don't wanna be out on the street after I did all that." Well, then you're gonna be in that environment. Sometimes the price of your freedom is just leaving with just you. Well, I don't wanna say anything because he's gonna turn all our friends against me and he's gonna keep all of them. Well, then they weren't your friends to begin with, right? They were his friends that he was sharing with you. But I knew them first, okay, but then they became his friends that he's sharing with you. For some, we need to make the decision of like, you know, I need to make this choice. I need to choose me. I'm going to have to forego any material things. I'm going to have to forego shelter. I'm going to have to forego even my animals. Like, it sucks. But what price are you paying holding on to certain things? I'd rather be on the street than to be in a toxic environment. And now you know why I was in an RV for so many years. Why I was stuck in the parking lot for 5 months. 'Cause, I mean, I've said it before. I could have easily just called my mom and be like, "Mom, I need a couple $100. I need like 1,500 bucks. The brakes went out. I'm stuck." I'm on her account. She'd have no problem with me transferring money from her account into my personal account, not associated with hers. I didn't bother calling. That was the price of my freedom. That was the price of my freedom. And it's not to say my mother was a horrible person. It is to say there were quite a few different, family dynamics in play that extended beyond my mother that was extremely toxic. It still is. It still is, and here's the thing. I'm not willing to compromise my internal peace anymore for anyone. 'Cause there's been conversations of like, "The family's not complete, just squash it already." The family is complete, but those individuals will never be a part of my life or my children's life. Why? Because there's been too much done out of malice, not just to me, but to my children, so fuck that. You can still be a relative and not a part of my life. Never again. Never again. When people continue to show you who they are, because there's been so many cycles of doing really fucked up shit to me, to my family, and me allowing it back in because, oh, maybe they're different now. They're not different. This is who they are. This is who they are. So let me be who I am, a powerful, balanced, peaceful person. And if you threaten any of those things, you need to be removed. I don't care who you are. You need to be removed so that I can maintain my peace. Whatever it is, if it's in exchange for my personal peace, that's too high a price for me to pay. No, thank you. No, thank you. No. I don't need it. I don't want it. Nope. Return to sender. No. I'm not going to let any of those nasty things back into my life. That year and a half of me going through shit because of people on social media, that's because I let the most toxic fucking bitch into my life again. And she's toxic. She knows that. She's toxic. Toxic as fuck. Literally the most toxic person I've ever come across. Toxic as fuck. No more. I don't need to repeat things over and over and over and over and over again at this point in my life. Something about your energy reminds me of her, you're fucking out. That's it. I don't care. I don't care how sweet you are. You're probably a good person. Continue being a good person away from me. You're out. That's it. That is it. And people might be like, "Well, Emmy, you can't be like that because you run a business." Oh, that's okay. That's okay. If you're no longer going to purchase sessions from me because I'm asserting my boundaries, and so now I'm going to be out however much you used to spend, that's okay. I'll buy less plants. I'll use less of the heater. I'll adjust my budget to accommodate that loss in income. But you will not be allowed into my life at no cost. There's no cost that I'm willing to pay in exchange for my personal peace, my existence with dignity intact. I'm not letting you back in. Once I determine that you need to be removed, you're going to be removed. And I'm not one to make that determination based off of like, I'm having a bad day and you irritated me. So now you need to be removed. No, anyone who really, really knows me knows that I will go for months, knowing I need to do this, but not doing it because I don't want to abandon you. I don't want you to be alone. I don't want you this. I don't want you that. And, that's none of that is really my responsibility. The more I learn and recalibrate my understanding and acceptance of what I'm responsible for, which is myself and my children, not even my husband. I'm not responsible for my husband because he is a grown ass man. He's independent. The more I recalibrate my understanding, the more I realize how far I was overstepping what is actually my responsibility. I was letting people in. I was looking for problems to solve so that I could be too busy to solve my own issues. When you look for a problem, you'll find one. When you look for a problem, you'll find one. I promise you. That's how it works. You can be on the beach, and if you look for a feather, you'll find one. But what about the shells? I'm not looking for shells, so there's no shells. I'm looking for feathers. If you're looking for shells, that's all you're looking for, you'll ignore all the feathers. There's no feathers to be found. I'm looking for shells. Whatever you look for is what you'll find. Are you looking to let something into your life so you have external drama that prevents you from addressing the internal? For many of us, that's what we do. Doesn't make you a bad person. It just means you need to be aware that this is part of your coping mechanism. This is a trauma response. Being too busy is a trauma response. It prevents you from having enough time to address whatever it is you need to address within yourself. Card number 23, Panacea. There's a solution for every problem. There's literally a solution for every problem. For anyone who believes they're stuck, there's a solution for every problem. I still distinctly remember it was like, gosh, maybe a year ago. One of the viewers was talking about they can't leave, they're stuck, and, all these other things in the comments. And then a couple months ago, they're free. They're free. They finally made the decision and they're free. And I don't know what's happened since then, but you will never be free until you choose to be. And the price of your freedom means giving up whatever comforts you've become accustomed to. Whether it's the people present in your life, the place you live, and all of these other different things. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. Detox, cleanse and restore yourself. Cleanse and restore yourself. Card number 17, Minimus, commune with the source. You haven't been tapping into the source of your actual pain. Honestly, I think for most of us, the source of our actual pain is not the person we think it is. It stems from something that was experienced, existed before we even knew the person that we are pointing fingers at right now existed. You got to tap into the source of whatever it is you're struggling through. You'll probably find that it extends to childhood. Most of our traumas and trauma responses are formed in childhood. And then we spend the rest of our lives, young adulthood and adulthood, um, reestablishing these toxic dynamics with other people. I stayed for the sake of the family. I taught my children to have less respect for me and my choices. Oh, wow. Wow. I stayed for the sake of the family. I taught my children to have less respect for me and my choices. That's powerful to come from someone who has experienced it themselves and have grown enough to come to the realization of what that decision created. That's deep. There was no physical danger, just words, and that's the thing. Many of us think that just because it's words, just because it's emotions, it's not actually violence. It's just not physical violence. It's time to lead. Lead yourself out of that hole that you keep digging. Phenomenon. Be still and listen to the spirits. You're receiving the type of guidance that you need. You need to accept it though, in order for it to work. Yeah, words and emotional maltreatment are worse to me than physical. That's just my personal opinion. It's not to diminish people who are maltreated physically. That's bad too. Very, very bad. Um, but for me personally, the words and the emotions stick with me deeper. It affects me so much more. And so, to me personally, when I used to experience that earlier in life, that was so much worse. So much worse. It's ugly. You have to focus on what needs to be changed, okay? You have to focus. It's been a long night, and the long night has been dark. This is an acknowledgement of what you're going through. The harvest moon, fruition. You have to begin harvesting all of this hard work that's been stored into the plants that you've been tending to, the components of your garden. You have to. Mm. Ooh, there was a guy on TikTok that said being ignored was like being physically hit. The chemical reaction in the brain were the same. Okay, I needed to hear that. Because there's times where if I get really upset, I just have to be quiet and I won't respond. I won't respond when someone asks me a question or interacts with me or whatever, and I have to be very mindful of that. My intention is not necessarily to ignore, it's to be quiet so that I don't say hurtful things just because I'm upset. And so I have to be mindful of that. I have to at least acknowledge, especially if it's my kids, like, I just can't talk right now. I'm too upset. I need some time to um, kind of just be quiet within myself. Thank you for that, Moonrock. New moon beginnings. You see that? It's winter on the outside, but when you cross that threshold, it's spring. Cross that threshold. No more excuses, guys. No more excuses as to why you can't empower yourselves. Just no more excuses. If I can hold myself accountable in a public space at risk of being seen as a horrible person, then you can fucking do it in your personal life. You can do it in your personal life. Yeah, that's a harsh thing to say, but that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. If you want life to change, you need to be the one to change it. And that's just that. It's just that. Protection. Your protection comes in so many different ways. Ooh, I love that. Seems I fought on my knees so long, always compromised, but when I rose up, boundaries began to form on their own. I'm gonna have to quote you on this. Hold on, let me copy and paste it into a tab. Let me copy and paste that. Oh my god, that was so powerful. Love that. I have to read that again. Seems I fought on my knees so long, always compromised, but when I rose up, boundaries began to form on their own. And I think that's the most powerful and succinct way to describe the journey that I've been on. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Trust. When you don't trust your environment, you wall yourself off from it. Any environment that you don't trust, you should not occupy. You just shouldn't. Excuse me. Does that mean you won't? No, that means you're going to do whatever you're going to do, and I'm just sharing my opinion. Whatever environment you don't trust, you should not occupy. And that's just that. Queen of the Moon, sovereignty. You are the queen of your feminine creative energies. What are you going to do with it? I really don't know how to navigate my situation in balance to heal me and the kids. I'm standing my ground. I'm wondering if to heal the kids, you need to just heal yourself. Years ago, I was breached. many, many years ago before I began doing public work. I got breached. And made me a very impatient mother, made me harsh. That was like the year that I decided we needed to try spanking. I didn't like that shit. I didn't like that. Made me into a different mother that I don't like at all. At all. And I actually still carry that with me. It still hurts me. And I remember one day I was talking to a friend that happens to, apparently she was raised by a dark witch. And so she knew about all this demonic stuff. And I wanted to ignore it. And one day we were talking. I don't remember what we were talking about, but I was like, "Can I show you a picture?" She's like, "Sure." Oh, we were talking about ring wraiths because we're talking about Lord of the Rings. She never really shared any of her practice with me, um, but she was just someone I resonated with. And one day we were talking about ring wraiths, and then I was like, "Can I show you a picture?" I don't know why it popped in my head. My latching was severe because of my avoidance of myself. I was able to ignore this latching for almost a year. It was not Tuam. It was a principality. From this part to this part of my neck on the back, I had a rash. It looked like a suction cup with teeth. That's what it looked like. It looked like a monster put its mouth on the back of my neck and bit down and began to suck. It was oozing. The entire time I had it, it would ooze. It would never heal. I'd use steroids and all kind of stuff. I'm like, it's eczema. It's eczema. One day I showed it to her and she's like, "Oh my fucking God, whose neck is that?" I was like, "It's mine. That's eczema, right?" And she's like, "No, that's a bite mark of a principality." And I'm like, "Stop. No, it's not. That's the bite mark of a principality." And she did work on me. She removed it, made herself sick. And after that, I started to become the mother I was before once again. It took a while. It took a while. And as I healed myself and became more of the type of mother that I choose to be, it healed my children. First and foremost, no spanking. That's some fucked up shit. No, no spanking. I don't believe in spanking. Had I continued to try and heal my children instead of first healing myself, I'd probably still be spanking. I yelled a lot during that period. Like, yell. For my kids would be like, yeah, no, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "The principality made me do it." No, that potentiality existed within me. It already existed within me. That was me. Aggravated, distorted, but that was still me. That was still me. And so because of the fact that I'm able to recognize my natural existing characteristics were simply amplified, I can make choices that don't allow that to come through. When we start talking about, if we're doing that, it's the demon's fault. No, that's a part of you. That's a part of you. Granted, I didn't beat my children because that's not in me to beat children. Like, what the fuck? I would spank them in the hand, which is for me, I think that's worse. There's so many nerve endings in the hands. We have to heal ourselves if we're gonna heal our families. If you are the matriarch, just look at elephants. Look at elephants. How do elephants function? They follow the lead of the matriarch. She's the leader of that elephant family. They follow her lead, and if she can't find the water, they're dead. If she leads them to poachers, they're dead. We can't use our families, especially our children, as reasoning to not do the work that we know we need. It's a fear-based thing that we're experiencing. And society tells us all sorts of different things that really don't provide us solutions. Only you know what you need to do. Only you know what you need to do. Our societies and our cultures tell us to be the people that we struggle so hard to be because we're not that, but they're telling us we have to be that. You don't have to be anything you don't want to be. Stop letting into the garden of your thoughts the toxic seeds from your neighbor's yard. We have to really, really allow ourselves to take responsibility for the decisions we make. And if you choose to delay things, if you choose other things than what you know you need, then that's a choice. And that's just that. It's a choice. It's a choice. This topic is exhausting me. I'm going to go back to sleep. Let me check what um I I gotta work with my schedule. I'm sleepy as AF. All right, guys. I hope this really intense talk gives you a different perspective on some aspects of your life that maybe you need a different perspective on. Um, make sure that you allow yourself to see clearly the things that need to be seen. Just make sure. Okay. Make sure that you don't unnecessarily attack yourself or unnecessarily justify victimhood or unnecessarily allow access to you or unnecessarily delay or unnecessarily. Ask your soul what you need to do and listen. Actually, listen. Allow yourself to hear the guidance from your own soul. No one else knows how to navigate your life outside of you. People can have their opinions. People can have their stance. People can be passionate in the delivery of their opinions. It's nothing but an opinion. At the end of the day, make a decision that you know you can live with. Because at the end of that decision, you're going to be forced to live with it. It can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. It's going to be whatever you make it into. Use your personal power wisely. Use it to cultivate the type of life that you want. A life you know is worthy of you. Short of that, it's unnecessary. So I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. Bye.